An alien fox woman caught my human scent. Now she claims I belong to her. Elias had worked alone on the moon the Laura 9 for almost 4 months, but tonight felt different. The air outside his research cabin was too still. The glowing trees did not sway. Even the violet mist, which always drifted around the forest, hung frozen in the air like it was holding its breath. Elias sat near the window, repairing a broken sensor, when a strange feeling crawled up his spine. Someone was watching him. He turned toward the glass. Nothing. Just tall crystal plants and soft blue light from the moon above. But the feeling did not leave. It grew stronger. He told himself it was stress. He was alone. He was tired. He needed sleep. Then he saw something that made his heart jump. 3 long claw marks were scratched across the metal door of his cabin. Fresh. Deep. Perfectly carved, like someone wanted him to notice them. Elias grabbed his scanner and stepped outside. The cold air wrapped around him instantly. The ground glowed faintly under his boots, covered in soft moss. He bent down and saw footprints, light, careful, silent. Not human. Not fully animal either. The creature walked like a dancer, but also like a hunter. Then Elias smelled it. A warm scent floated in the cold air. Sweet. Wild. Almost like burning honey mixed with flowers. He stepped back fast, heart pounding. Something was wrong. Very wrong. He rushed inside and locked the door. Then locked it again. But when the air filter clicked on, the scent drifted inside through the tiny vent. Like something had been standing right there, breathing through the gap. Elias barely slept. Morning came in a cold blue glow. He opened the metal door slowly, praying everything was a dream. Then he froze. A figure stood only a few steps away. Tall. Graceful. Not human. Her fur was white like fresh snow. Her long silver hair moved gently with the breeze. Sharp ears stood high on her head. Her golden eyes glowed in the sunlight. She looked almost human, but not fully. A Lunari woman, a fox-like species from the deep forests. Her tail, soft and full, curled behind her. She wore only simple cloth wraps around her body, nothing like armor. She stared at Elias without blinking. Not scared. Not angry. Just curious. Elias stepped back inside out of fear. She stepped one quiet pace forward, like she was following his heartbeat. Her voice came softly, almost like the wind speaking. Human, she whispered. Your trail led me. Elias could not speak. She inhaled deeply, as if tasting the air around him. Her pupils widened. Her tail lifted. A shiver ran through her whole body. Then she whispered something that made Elias' blood run cold. You belong to me. Before he could answer, she moved. Fast. Too fast. One blink. And she was gone, disappearing into the mist like smoke. Elias slammed the door shut, shaking. That night, he heard footsteps outside. Soft. Slow. Circling. He smelled the same warm, wild scent drifting through the air. He looked out the window. The Lunari woman stood in the moonlight, staring at him. Eyes glowing. Tail steady. She tapped her chest twice, then pointed at him. Her voice carried clearly through the glass. Bond season. Elias stepped back in fear. She was not just watching him. She was claiming him. And she was not going to leave. Elias woke up early, hoping the strange events of last night were nothing more than stress and imagination. But the moment he opened the door, all hope vanished. Right in front of his cabin lay a creature from the forest. A Skyran antelope, known for being fast, gentle, and almost impossible to catch. It was placed neatly on the ground. A clean, precise cut across the neck. No claw marks. No signs of a struggle. A perfect hunt. A perfect offering. Elias stepped back, horrified. This wasn't random. This wasn't an accident. This was a gift. A claiming gesture. From her. He rushed back inside and locked the door. Again. And again. His heart beat too fast. His mind spun. Why him? Why would a Lunari woman stalk a human scientist? Why bring him hunted prey like some ancient ritual? He checked the cameras, even though they rarely showed anything. But today. Camera 2 flickered to life. There she was. Sitting on a stone ledge a few meters away. Back straight. Tail wrapped neatly around her legs. Ears pointed toward the cabin, tracking his movements like antennas. She wasn't hiding. She wasn't ashamed. She was watching him openly. Calmly. Possessively. Elias leaned closer to the monitor, and his stomach twisted. The Lunari woman lifted a small leather pouch and poured glowing dust onto the moss. The dust formed bright shapes. Circles, waves, ancient patterns. A ritual. He quickly opened the research logs. He remembered seeing something like this in old data from explorers. A Lunari binding circle. A mark of intention. A mark of loyalty. A mark of possession. Elias whispered, "No, no, no, no. This can't be happening." Outside, she finished the pattern. Then she placed her hand over her chest and pressed her palm into the glowing symbols. Light pulsed outward like ripples in a pond. And she smiled. Slow, satisfied. She had completed the first step of a Lunari bond ritual. Without him. Elias had no idea if he should panic or run. Neither option felt safe. He stepped outside slowly, hands raised to show he meant no harm. The Lunari woman stood immediately. Her eyes brightened. Her tail rose in excitement. She took one step forward. He stepped one back. She stopped instantly. Obedient, but intensely focused on him. "Why are you following me?" Elias asked, voice shaking. She tilted her head, confused by the question. Then she touched her chest gently. "Kala," she said. Elias blinked. "Kala? That's your name?" She nodded once. Slow, graceful. Then she pointed at him again. Her voice soft, breathy. "Your scent found me." Elias swallowed hard. That's not how humans choose friends. Or partners. Her ears lowered. Her expression dimmed, almost like she felt pain. For a moment she looked smaller. Fragile. Disappointed. But in the next breath her eyes sharpened again. She stepped closer. Inhaled deeply. Her voice lowered into a strange mix of instinct and emotion. "I feel you here." She pressed her hand against her heart. Elias took a step back, confused, overwhelmed. "No. I didn't call you. I don't want." He didn't finish his sentence. Kala stiffened suddenly. Her ears shot upward. Her tail flared. She looked toward the forest with pure fear. Then she growled, low and deep. A sound no human throat could make. Elias froze. "What is it?" he whispered. Kala didn't look at him. Her eyes narrowed, sharp as knives. Another inhale. Slow. Focused. Then she whispered one chilling word. "Hunter." Elias frowned. "Hunter? Hunter of what?" She finally turned toward him. Her voice shook with anger and something darker. "Hunter of you." Before he processed her meaning, she grabbed his arm gently but firmly and pulled him behind her. Her claws extended. Her stance hardened. Her body became a living shield. Kala's next words chilled him more than the cold forest air. Another Lunari tracks you. A male. And he means death. Elias realized something terrifying. Kala wasn't stalking him for love. She was stalking him to protect him. And whatever hunted him now was far worse than she was. The forest was quiet, too quiet. Even the glowing insects that usually drifted through the trees were gone. Something heavy was moving in the distance. Kala stood in front of Elias, her body tense, claws half extended, tail stiff like a warning signal. Elias had never seen her look afraid until now. "Kala, what's coming?" he whispered. She didn't answer. She only listened, ears twitching left, right, then sharply forward. Her breathing slowed. Her muscles coiled. Then, a deep vibration rolled through the ground. A growl. Not like an animal. Not like a machine. A growl filled with fury, jealousy, and hunger. Kala whispered, "He followed my mark." Her voice trembled with anger. "And now he wants to destroy what I chose." Elias stepped back. "Why me? I didn't choose anything. I didn't do anything." Kala turned her head slightly, eyes locked onto his. "That is why he hates you. You did nothing. Yet my scent changed for you." Before Elias could reply, the forest exploded. Branches snapped. Moss flew. A massive shape burst through the glowing vines. A Lunari male. But not like Kala. He was towering. His fur deep ash black with streaks of crimson. His eyes blazed like hot metal. His claws curved like hooked blades. Tribal war paint covered his chest in jagged patterns. Elias stumbled backward in fear. Kala's voice dropped into a sharp whisper, full of dread. "Varix." The name itself felt heavy. Varix stepped forward slowly, every movement dripping with dominance. He slammed his claws into a tree, marking it with a long red slash. A warning. A challenge. Kala stepped in front of Elias again, standing tall even though she was smaller. Her voice wavered but stayed strong. "You cannot have him." Varix snarled, lips pulling back to reveal razor teeth. Kala didn't move. Elias could feel her trembling, but not with fear. With determination. Varix suddenly lunged, faster than Elias could react. Kala met him mid-leap. Claws clashed. Teeth snapped. A shockwave of impact rattled the trees. They fought like two wild storms. Kala moved with speed, twisting, dodging, striking low. Varix fought like a mountain, each blow heavy, brutal, crushing. Elias shouted, "Kala! Stop! He'll kill you." She didn't hear him. Or maybe she did. And didn't care. Varix landed a heavy hit on Kala's side, sending her crashing into a glowing tree trunk. She coughed, breath broken, but pushed herself back up. He roared, charging again. Elias panicked. He grabbed the nearest object, a metal survey rod, and ran forward without thinking. "Hey!" he yelled. Varix turned just enough for Elias to swing the rod with all his strength. It hit Varix's shoulder. A spark shot through his fur. He let out a furious howl and staggered. Kala froze, shocked. "You helped me," she whispered. Elias didn't have time to answer. Varix lunged again, angrier than before. This time his claws slashed across Kala's shoulder. Blood sprayed across the glowing moss. Kala cried out in pain but stood her ground. "No." Elias ran toward her, but Kala pushed him back with her tail. "Stay behind me," she demanded. But Varix was already moving. He kicked Kala aside and came straight for Elias. Elias froze. He couldn't run. He couldn't fight. Varix was too fast. In the last second, Kala threw herself between them again. Her body slammed into Varix, knocking both of them into the undergrowth. Snarls echoed through the trees. Branches snapped. Moss flew into the air. Then, silence. Elias's heart pounded so hard he could barely breathe. He ran into the forest, calling her name. Kala. Kala. He found her lying against a fallen tree. Her fur was stained with blood. Her breathing weak. But she was alive. Her eyes opened slowly. She tried to smile. "You are safe," she whispered. Elias knelt beside her, shaking. "Why did you protect me like that? You could have died." Kala's voice was soft, trembling. "Because I chose you." She placed a weak hand over her chest. "My scent chose you. My heart followed." Elias didn't know what to say. He didn't understand her world, her laws, or her instincts. But he understood one thing. Kala believed she belonged with him. And she was willing to die for that belief. Far off in the forest, a roar echoed again. Varix was still alive. The fight was only beginning. Elias carried Kala back toward the cabin, her arm over his shoulder, her steps slow and shaky. She tried to walk on her own, but every breath showed pain. Even injured, she kept glancing over her shoulder, ears twitching, searching for any sign that Varix was returning. Inside the cabin, Elias guided her to sit on the metal bench. He cleaned the blood from her fur and wrapped her wounds with whatever medical supplies he had. The tiny room smelled like metal and antiseptic, but Kala still watched him with warm, glowing eyes. "You should rest," Elias whispered. Kala shook her head. "Rest later. Danger now." Before Elias could argue, a sharp whistle echoed outside. Kala stiffened instantly. Elias ran to the window, and froze. 5 Lunari warriors stood outside the cabin. Tall. Armored. Deadly. Their fur covered in tribal patterns. Their claws sharp even in the dim light. Kala struggled to stand. Her tail puffed with fear and fury. "No," she whispered. "Not them." Elias opened the door slowly, hands raised. The warriors didn't enter. They only watched him with cold, judging eyes. Their leader, a stern female with bronze fur, stepped forward. Her voice was calm but sharp like a knife. "Human," she said. "You have caused disturbance." Elias blinked. "Me? I didn't do anything." The warrior ignored him and looked at Kala. "Kala, you have broken Lunari tradition." Elias felt Kala tense beside him. Her claws slid out slightly, a sign of distress. The warrior continued, "You bonded your scent to a human. You defended him. You shed blood for him. This is forbidden." Another warrior growled, "She should have chosen one of our kind. Not an outsider." Kala stepped in front of Elias and bared her fangs. "He is under my protection." The warriors recoiled. Her defiance was dangerous. The bronze-furred leader spoke again, voice colder now. "Our laws are clear. If a Lunari chooses outside the clan must challenge the outsider. Varix has the right to claim the bond by killing the human." Elias felt his stomach twist. "I can't fight that monster. He'll tear me apart." The warrior shrugged. "Then the bond breaks with your death." Kala suddenly roared. "If he dies, I die too." The words cut through the air like a blade. The warriors froze completely. Even Elias felt chills. Kala had spoken the vow of Heart Shadow, an ancient promise Lunari almost never used. It meant she tied her life to his. If he died, her body and spirit would collapse. The warrior leader stepped back as if Kala had become sacred, or cursed. "You would bind your life to a human?" the leader whispered. Kala answered without fear. "Yes. The warriors exchanged uneasy looks. This was no longer a simple matter of tribe law. If they forced a separation now, Kala would die, and the tribe would be blamed for the death of a heart-bound warrior. Finally, the leader turned to Elias. Human. Varix will come again. He will challenge you formally. You cannot escape this. Elias shouted, "Why are you letting him? Why not stop him?" The leader replied, "Because he follows the law. And our law is older than any of us." She stepped closer, looking directly into Elias's eyes. "You must face him soon. If you survive, the bond stands. The tribe will accept it. And if I don't?" Elias whispered. "Then you die." Her voice didn't shake. "That is the price of Kala's choice." Kala growled loudly, placing herself between Elias and the warriors again. "No one touches him." The leader nodded slowly. "Then protect him. But know this, Kala, you have divided our tribe. Some stand with you. Some want the human gone. And Varix," she glanced toward the forest. "Varix will not stop until the trial is complete." The warriors turned and vanished into the glowing trees, disappearing like ghosts. Silence filled the air. Elias finally turned to Kala. "Why?" he whispered. "Why would you risk everything, your tribe, your life, for me?" Kala's ears lowered gently. Her voice softened. "When I first smelled you, instinct chose you." She touched her chest. "But when I watched you, when you helped me, when you faced danger, my heart followed." Elias sank into a chair, shaking. He didn't want to fight a creature twice his size. He didn't want to die on a world far from home. But Kala stood in front of him, trembling with loyalty, fear, and love. He understood something then. He wasn't just fighting for himself anymore. He was fighting for her. And somewhere in the dark forest, Varix lifted his head and roared. The challenge had already begun. After the Lunari warriors disappeared into the forest, the cabin felt too quiet. Too small. Too dangerous. Elias paced back and forth, running a hand through his hair. "How am I supposed to fight that thing? Varix will crush me. I don't even understand why any of this is happening." Kala sat on the floor near the heating vent, her injured arm resting in her lap. Her tail was curled tightly around her legs, something she did only when she felt truly afraid. She watched him silently for a long moment. Then she finally spoke. "Elias, there is more you must know." He stopped pacing. Her tone was different, soft, heavy, almost sad. "Your scent," she said quietly. "It is not normal. It is not human." Elias froze. He had hoped this conversation would never happen. Kala inhaled deeply, her golden eyes widening slightly. "When I met you, your scent was strong. Too strong. It called to my instincts. It told me, you were mine." She touched her chest slowly. "But Lunari instincts do not lie. Your scent is powerful. Ancient. Changed." Elias walked to a metal locker in the corner, hands trembling. He unlocked it and pulled out a small sealed container marked with human scientific symbols. Inside was a vial of faint, blue shimmering liquid. Kala stared at it, ears tilting with confusion. "What is that?" Elias spoke quietly, almost ashamed. "Before I came to this moon, I was part of a human survival project. A biological enhancement experiment." Kala blinked. "Explain." "It wasn't meant for bonding," Elias said quickly. "It wasn't made to attract anyone. It was supposed to protect us. Humans realized that alien ecosystems were too unpredictable. Too dangerous. So we engineered a pheromone boost, a chemical that could influence wildlife. Push predators away. Calm hostile species." Kala whispered, "But it affected us instead." Elias nodded slowly. It changed the chemical signals we give off. It made my scent different. Stronger. More noticeable to species that rely on instinct and smell. Kala lowered her head, ears sinking. So when I felt you, when my scent changed, it was not your heart calling me. Elias swallowed hard. He didn't want to hurt her. He didn't want to take away the only thing she believed in. I never meant to mislead you, he said softly. I didn't even know the pheromone effect would reach Lunari. Kala looked up slowly. Her eyes were not angry. Not hurt. Just sad. Does your world know what it has done? She whispered. Your scent did not only call me, it changed me. It changed my body. My spirit. My instincts. She pressed a hand to her chest. Lunari bond once. Only once. And when the bond forms, it cannot break without death. Elias felt a cold shock run through him. Kala, you mean? She nodded. If you die, my life ends. My heart stops. My body fails. This is our oldest law. Our deepest instinct. Elias nearly fell into a chair. He couldn't breathe. You tied your life to me, because of something humans created. Kala crawled toward him slowly. Her movements were shaky from pain yet filled with determination. She placed her hand over his heart. Scent may begin the path, she whispered. But I watched you. I saw the way you cared for injured creatures. The way you risked yourself for me. I heard your voice when you were afraid, but you still stood beside me. Her eyes softened. Scent called me first. But my heart stayed with you. Elias looked at her, torn between guilt and something deeper. Something new. But before he could speak, Kala's ears shot upward. Her body tensed. Tail straightened. Eyes narrowed. He is coming, she whispered. Elias's breath caught in his throat. Varix? No, Kala said. Not only him. She sniffed the air with sharp, quick breaths. 3 males. 1 scout. An. Her voice dropped. An elder. Elias felt his blood freeze. Why would an elder come? Kala's answer was simple. Cold. Because they plan to end the bond. Permanently. Elias took a step back. No. Kala, we can run. We can hide. She shook her head. You cannot escape a Lunari hunt. They smell distance, fear, movement. If you flee, they will chase. If they catch you, they will kill you. And I will fall with you. Her voice trembled, but her gaze stayed strong. The only way to survive is to face the trial. Elias felt his chest tighten. The trial? What even is it? Kala whispered, a test before the tribe. A test with blood. If you survive, even for a moment, the bond stands. They accept us. And if I don't? She touched his cheek gently. Then I die beside you. Elias closed his eyes, fear grabbing his stomach. Outside, the glowing trees flickered with movement. Shadows approached. Heavy footsteps echoed through the forest. Kala stood in front of him, despite her wounds. Her claws extended again. It begins, she whispered. The tribe has come. The ground outside Elias's cabin vibrated as heavy footsteps approached. Kala moved in front of him instantly, even though her arms still shook from her wound. Her ears were pinned back. Her tail was straight with fear. Elias peeked through the window, and his stomach dropped. They were surrounded. 4 Lunari males stood at the tree line, their bodies painted with glowing red patterns. Sharp claws. Cold eyes. Breathing like beasts ready to fight. And between them walked a tall figure covered in silver fur. Older. Calmer. But far more dangerous. The elder. Kala whispered, "Do not speak unless he speaks to you." Elias nodded nervously. The elder stepped forward until he stood only a few feet from the cabin door. His eyes, pale and icy, focused on Elias with a chilling calm. "Human," he said. His voice carried like wind through stone. "A bond has formed where none should exist." Elias felt sweat drip down his back. Kala growled softly, but the elder lifted a single claw and she fell silent. "You," he continued, "are the reason our tribe trembles. A Lunari female chose you. A human. A stranger. Something no law prepared us for." Elias swallowed. "I didn't choose this. I." The elder snapped, "Silence." Elias shut his mouth. The elder's gaze shifted to Kala. "Your choice has upset the balance. It has angered the males. It has broken ancient order." Kala stepped forward, voice strong despite the pain. "I will not break the bond." The elder's eyes hardened. "Then your human must face the trial." Elias felt his knees weaken. "What trial?" The elder raised one clawed hand. "Survived 3 attacks from Varix. That is all." Elias stared in disbelief. "That's impossible. He's twice my size. He nearly killed Kala." "That is the law," the elder replied calmly. Kala grabbed Elias's hand, her grip tight and trembling. "Elias. I can take your place. Let me fight. Let me bleed again." He shook his head firmly. "No. You almost died last time. I won't let you fight for me again." Kala looked terrified. "You cannot face Varix. You are not built to fight us. He will break you." Elias squeezed her hand. "I don't need to win. I only need to survive." The elder spoke again. "When the moon reaches the center of the sky, the trial begins. Prepare yourself." The warriors spread into a circle around the clearing. The arena. Kala pulled Elias aside quickly. "You must listen," she whispered urgently. "Varix will not strike wildly. He will try to kill with each blow. He will aim for your throat, your heart, your skull." Elias tried to breathe, but fear tightened his chest. Kala placed both hands on his face, forcing him to look at her. "Use your size. You are smaller. He will expect you to stand and block. Do not block. Move. Dodge. Crawl. Roll. Survive." Her eyes glistened with fear and love. "And use that device on your wrist." Elias looked down at the small shock module. "It won't kill him." "It does not need to," Kala said. "It only needs to slow him." A horn echoed through the forest. A deep, haunting tone. The moon had reached its center. The elder raised his voice. "Let the trial begin." Warriors stepped back to form the circle. Varix emerged from the shadows. His wounds from earlier had already closed. His claws gleamed with fresh red paint. His breath steamed in the cold air. He stared at Elias with pure hatred. Kala shook with fear, but she whispered. "Stay low. If you fall, fall toward the moss. Keep breathing." Elias stepped into the center of the circle. His heart hammered so loudly Kala could probably hear it. Varix crouched low. The elder shouted. "Strike one." Varix exploded forward like a fired cannon. Elias dove sideways, barely avoiding the claws. The air sliced where his head had been. He rolled and pressed the shock device against Varix's ribs as he passed. A crack of blue light. A roar of pain. Varix stumbled. The Lunari warriors hissed in shock. Kala's eyes filled with relief and terror. "One strike survived," the elder announced. Elias stood again, shaking. His knees weak. His breath sharp. But alive. Varix turned slowly, fury burning in his eyes. The elder lifted his claw. Prepare for strike 2. Kala whispered the last advice she could give. Elias, remember. You are not prey. But Varix lunged again before Elias could answer. And the second strike began with a roar that shook the whole clearing. Varix charged like a burning meteor, claws out, teeth bared, eyes wild with rage. Elias barely had time to react. He dropped to the ground and rolled as fast as he could. Varix's claws sliced the air above him, tearing a line through the moss. Elias stumbled to his feet, gasping. His shoulder burned from where he scraped the ground, but he stayed standing. The elder raised his voice. Second strike completed. Kala pressed her hands to her mouth, trembling. Her tail was shaking violently, fear pouring out of her like heat. Varix turned slowly toward Elias, his breath sharp and furious. He looked humiliated. A human had survived 2 attacks. Unacceptable. He roared, shaking the trees. The elder lifted his claw again. Prepare for the final strike. Kala whispered desperately, Elias, do not stand still. He will aim to break your bones. Move like the wind. Move like you wish to live. Elias nodded, though he wasn't sure he could outrun a creature built for killing. Varix crouched low. Muscles tensed. Fur bristling. Eyes locked onto Elias with a predator's certainty. This was not just a fight. This was elimination. The elder shouted. Strike 3. Varix launched. He moved faster than before, far faster. Elias jumped to the side, but Varix changed direction mid-air, slamming into him with full force. The world spun. Elias crashed into a tree, pain bursting through his chest. He hit the ground, crawling, struggling to breathe. Kala screamed his name, but warriors held her back. Varix stalked toward Elias slowly now, savoring the kill. He wanted the final blow to be personal. Elias tried to stand, legs shaking, vision darkening. He raised the shock device, but Varix slapped it away with a swipe of his claws. The device flew into the bushes. Hopeless. Varix towered above him, claws lifting. Kala broke free. She sprinted toward Elias with a desperate cry. No. Varix swung downward. Aiming for Elias's throat. Kala threw herself between them. Claws met fur. Blood sprayed across the moss. Kala collapsed to her knees, shaking. Varix stared in shock. She had taken the killing blow for a human. The elder shouted, stunned. Kala. You break the circle. But she didn't stop. She pushed herself up again, blood dripping from her side. She stood between Elias and Varix, barely standing, barely breathing. You touch him, you face me, she growled. Varix roared and attacked her. Kala met him with everything she had left. They collided like thunder, rolling across the ground. Teeth clashed. Claws flashed in streaks of silver and red. Kala fought like a creature who had nothing left to lose. Elias crawled forward helplessly. Kala. Stop. You'll die. But she didn't hear him. She heard only instinct. Only love. Only the bond. Varix slammed her into a tree, but Kala twisted and raked her claws across his face. Blood sprayed. He howled, stumbling. She leaped and struck again. This time across his throat. Varix collapsed to the ground, panting heavily, defeated. Silence fell across the clearing. The elder stepped forward, eyes wide with disbelief. A Lunari female has defeated a chosen male. He looked at Elias. For a human. Kala staggered toward Elias and fell into his arms. He caught her, shaking. Kala, you're hurt. You're bleeding so much. She smiled weakly. You lived, so I live. Elias held her tightly. I'm not leaving you. Not ever. The elder raised his voice so the whole forest could hear. The human has survived all 3 strikes. Kala's bond stands. The tribe recognizes them. Every Lunari bowed their heads. Kala closed her eyes, tears falling into Elias's shirt. It is done, she whispered. We are one. Elias brushed his hand through her hair gently. You saved me. Again. She touched his chest softly. And you stayed for me. The Lunari warriors stepped back, giving them space. The forest lights flickered softly, as if approving the moment. But then. A distant rumble shook the ground. A sound deeper than Varix's roar. Older. Stronger. Kala's ears shot up. No, she whispered. That sound, it is not from our tribe. Elias frowned. Another Lunari. Kala shook her head slowly. No. Something worse. Something from the old mountains. A second rumble answered, louder this time. The elder's eyes narrowed. He looked toward the dark ridge. It wakes, he murmured. Elias felt a chill crawl up his spine. What wakes? The elder turned to him with a grave expression. Something ancient. Something your scent has disturbed. Kala clutched Elias's hand tightly. Elias, this is only the beginning.